Okay, so wanted to share my portfolio. Now, this is what I used when I was going on a job or a side project interview. And if I was going to do something like a sculpture or models, I would take my other box. But this is more of a visual thing. So the first thing I want to say is, and this is for people who are trying to go for an interview. And if you're straight out of art school, you don't really have an idea. So usually your books are really gigantic. This is very small. You don't want to cover their desk may have stuff inside there that may, they have to clear their desk. They don't want to do that. They want to make it as easy as possible. Now, this is like old school technology. This is like 25 years ago when I used to do side projects. So this is my quick resume. It's different from the most resumes you always see. It just one sheet thing, but this gives you an example of some of my work. Again, keep it small, tight. There's kind of a list of different things I've done, and some of my background. There's another page behind there. Anyway, so highlights. Now this is what I leave with them when I leave, so they can see the work. If they, it's kind of hard to understand that. So this is kind of my portfolio that I would show them also. Now, this is a saber-toothed cat. This is all in pencil, so there is some really intense drawing things, and then I scanned it into the computer and added some highlights and a drop shadow. Computer is a vital thing for scientific illustration. Now I'm going to go this direction. Wait, anyway, so another computerized version, trying to add skin to this. I did a lot of the artwork for the new Mars rock that was coming into our museum, and that was kind of a big disappointment. I did all the background artwork, and I was going to be part of the team to actually install the Mars rock, so I would be holding something from another planet, but I was sent off to one of those trips in setup mode. So, like I said, I do a lot of, this is kind of brochures or a little museum monthly magazine that they put out. So I had to do the drawing whale kind of illustration. And of course, this is kind of, they were doing I guess, kind of a party at the La Brea Tar Pit. So I kind of made a cartoon of them drinking martinis. So that kind of worked. Again, this is, just some random illustrations here, kind of my studio, kind of stuff from, now this wouldn't be in the interview, I just put it in there because this is done on a computer. Working on a computer is 15 times faster. You always have layers and delete things. The museum was doing a bowling league, and they said, we need a logo for the t-shirt, so I thought it'd be funny. A T-Rex trying to bowl with the two fingers. Kind of worked. Another one of those brochures for the museum. This is from the cat show, and that is the 3-foot cat tongue I had to sculpt. Nothing's ever easy. They wanted it touchable, so I had to go through a lot of different urethanes to make sure I had the right one, because I didn't want to make them too strong, because I didn't want people's flesh being ripped off. So I found the perfect mixture and made the little spikes, hooks, out of clay first, and made the mold, and then inserted the urethane with a syringe. Worked really well. There's that Dino baby illustration. This is done mainly on a computer. This is my friend Mike that worked at the museum. Anyway, so that's modern Mike. And then these are the skulls. I try to wrap his skin around the skulls to show what he would look like if that was him. Here's another thing that I was asked to do. They were thinking about putting a new whale sculpture in the museum, and of course they had the architects do it. Now the architects do a very loose technique of watercolors or whatever. It's kind of a architectural technique. Drove the scientists crazy because they couldn't recognize the what kind of whale it was, because the architects are not really interested in what kind of whales they are. So I was showing kind of the progression. Now, this looks just random to you. They could tell exactly what species and what it was from the bone structure that I made. Anyway, so then they were happy. So these are a concept drawing illustration for this, the mammalogists at the museum. This is the way whales started, actually. They were land-dwelling animals. They were ungulates, so they were related to cows. And because it's been like 30 years now, I think it's called a mesonaked. It looked like a wolf, but that is when they were land-dwelling, and this was they call it Pakicetus. So this is the next progression, and there's a lot of more progressions, but it just shows kind of the progression of whales. And I did another one kind of with that part. There's a life-size minke whale I sculpted. And I did a brochure for the museum with a lot of different parts. And then there's my whales that I sculpted for the Leo Cabrillo Aquarium. I believe they're still on display. I have a couple of these whales at the house. I wanted a few for myself. We were doing part of the dog show, another show. So I used my dog, Cody, and they wanted to show the carnassials. I think that's what it is. Anyway, so of course they just wanted to show a jaw with a tooth because, scientists do not think in the creative mode. So I thought, okay, well, hang on, let me think about it for a while. So I used a computer and superimposed and blended the opacity of the jaw on my dog, and then came in there and actually highlighted the tooth. So when they saw the whole concept, they were really happy because it got their point across in a creative way, and that is why they use artists to do stuff at the museum. Of course, there's some other stuff, kind of a scientific thing from the dog show. This is kind of an interesting. This is a new species of fly they found. Now, this is something and I said, I'm a scientific illustrator, so this took me like almost 2 weeks to do because it was looking under a microscope, going back and forth, going with the entomologists, him going under the microscope. They look at every crack, crevice, shading thing on each one of the hair, the direction, the thickness. So when they make a paper on this, they are not embarrassed. So they've actually helped me become more of a detail artist. But this is actually an ant-decapitating fly. In other words, this fly is so tiny, it lays its eggs on the back of an ant's neck. And when they hatch, they eat what's there, and the head of the ant falls off. Now, before they introduce them like that to fire ants, they got to make sure it's not going to affect anything else, because that's sometimes what used to do. And that's part of the one of the illustrations that was for that meteor coming in. I'm also going to show other scientific papers that I was responsible for. So this is kind of for some new species. If you were to read this paper, it would give you a headache. Anyway, so these are some of the illustrations I did on a computer, going that same method of looking for all the detail, little things that is important to them. And some of them get really detailed. Now, I didn't go full detail. They were just interested in some of the little teeny things that are happening on the edges, and that so they wanted more of a scientific line drawing of the new specimens and each part. So that was another part of my job. Anyway, so like I said, I cover all the bases. I think that's it. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that because I know there's going to be people, future artists, and I thought maybe the tip of showing what an artist's portfolio, what I would take to a job or kind of a side project job. Anyway, thank you. Take care. Hello, I'm Steve Melendrez, a model maker, illustrator, scientific illustrator, sculptor, design after history museum in Los Angeles. Done a lot of different things, but I'm going to be doing watercolor demonstrations of the techniques I've developed over the years. And it's going to go from a lot of different directions. And also I'm going to be doing videos, I call them video posters for my daughter. So a lot of stuff that I can leave to my daughter about her crazy dad. So I'm taking a lot of different directions, but mainly three. So anyway, that's my introduction that I'm going to attach to everything I'm doing now so I don't have to repeat this. Be careful out there.